Okay, why is the paint shaker on the model table? Got a comment this morning. One of the viewers wanted to know about the paint shaker. And I think that the easiest way for me to tell you about it is just show it. I'll just take a minute or so here. I'll reposition the camera and kind of look from a more overhead view here. Yeah, just hang on a second. Probably about 7-8 years ago now, I replaced my furnace. It could be longer ago. Time flies when you're having fun. And when they were going to throw out the old furnace, I knew that I had just replaced the motor and the blower about 2 years before, and they were just going to scrap the whole thing. So I asked them if I could have the motor, and they said sure. So I took the motor out and saved it, and then I threw the furnace away. It was an old furnace. It was probably about 40 years old. And I went to a high efficiency one. Anyway, so I kept the motor. Now this mandrel, it used to be in a table saw that I made, and I used the table saw for many years. Surprisingly, it had no elevation on the blade, no tilt on the blade. It would just saw strictly at right angles, and where this pulley is here, there was a blade attached, and it was fastened in a box. And anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm getting off on a tangent here, right? Okay, so about the paint shaker, it's very basic. All you need is an electric motor, a mandrel, an old belt, and this is really an old belt. I think it was when it was in the furnace. Anyway, yeah, I'll reposition the camera here and come in from sort of a side view so you can just sort of see how I rigged everything up. And sometimes I'll put a rubber band over top this way to keep these little spacers that I've got. This thing was originally built to shake up bottles of dye that came with a two-part acrylic mix that I used to. Anyway, all right. So what happens is the motor will run, and it just operates this very crude shaking system. Very crude. It's all just, this whole thing is made out of stuff that I had laying around in the workshop. The motor came out of the furnace. The mandrel came out of an old saw. I didn't even cut this board down to the right size. I just put everything on it so it would work, and I've used it many times. I don't know how many hours it's got on it, but I was kind of concerned that these connections wouldn't hold up. But it's amazing how well wood works. You know, when all there is just the bushing, you might say, is just a hole that I drilled through the wood, and then a bolt. Anyway, you can see how this works. I'm not recommending it at all. You just asked, so yeah. Well, there you go. That's how it works. Okay, so last night I did come back to the model table, and I discovered that way back in step number 16, that there was some stuff that I didn't put on, and I cannot remember why it was I did not put it on. Anyway, let's roll back, and we'll just talk about that. Well, as you can see, it is quite late already. I didn't get back to the model table nearly as quick as I thought I would here. And I just want to check and see how did our paint come out here. Right now I'm at arm's length and I can't even see the knot, but I think if we move in we should be able to see it. Now here is something I was not expecting. I was looking around on the deck. Actually, I was sort of looking for, we got to put the semaphore on. It'll go on the other side where this one is. But I was noticing I got holes here. And I'm wondering, what is that for? And there's holes here. Well, it turns out that we did not place 5 of these boxes. Now I don't remember seeing them kicking around, but we undoubtedly would have made them and painted them, so they must be somewhere, maybe over on the other side of the table there in a tin. I know there's some tins over there with some stuff in it, but I don't remember seeing boxes. But we got the 5 that go on the other side. Yeah, we missed them. Now isn't that something? Well, I was getting kind of worried there for a minute. I only found one of these tins, but the other one eventually showed up. So we got short ones and we got tall ones. And I guess the 2 tall ones will go here where we have to put 2. That makes sense. And the short ones will go over here. Whoops. Oh my goodness. I don't do retakes. Sorry. If I drop it, I drop it. I'm scared to hold things tight. I know I've said that a lot. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, I think what I'll do is I'll just use a little bit of extra thin, put it in the holes, and just drop the positioning pins in the holes. And I think there's a right way and a wrong way to have these. Yeah, there's little doors or something on the. So I guess we'd have them with the doors facing out. Well, we'll figure it out. Yeah, I think extra thin in the holes will be just fine. But that's going to have to be tomorrow now. It's getting kind of late. Yeah, I've had a lot of late nights over this model business, but it's my own choosing because I'm enjoying it. Anyway, we'll see you in the morning. Okay, here's what's happening. I've bent the 2 little bottom brackets, that have to go in these 2 slots right here. I bent them the other way. I think when we put this same piece on the other side, I bent them the wrong way. I think they were supposed to go like this, and that way when this piece goes against the top rail of the railing, these pieces should fit in the slots. Now I'm just gonna reposition here. I think this is going to work better. Oh, another thing I've done is I have taken the clear filter off of the front of this lens. And the reason being is I was thinking that I wasn't getting the edge sharpness that I was expecting. So we're just going to see if this is better, and then whenever I do anything that's going to possibly, get spray of some kind on the front of the lens, I'll put the filter back on. At least I'll try to remember to do it. I got to sort of reposition myself here. Yeah, I think that I did it wrong on the other side. Oh, there we go again. Now, another thing that I did is I've contacted an outfit here in Winnipeg. They're called iTech Computers. At the end of my finger, I was squeezing this thing so long that the thing my finger turned white here. Well, don't worry, it'll get better. I don't have the circulation anymore like I used to. That's why when I'm outside in the wintertime with the snowblower, I have to watch that I don't freeze the ends of my fingers. That's life, you know. My advice to you is don't get old. Anyway, the outfit that I talked to here in Winnipeg is iTech Computers. Guy there, I think his name is Jared. Been there for a long time. I haven't been in there now for a few years. I think the last time I was in there was about 3 years ago, and I was asking him if it was any use for me updating the computer I had, and he said, well, not really. What you got is already pretty good, or something to that effect, and it wasn't going to be worth the money to upgrade. But I know that now the technology has advanced quite a bit, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that we can get something that if other people are editing 8K video and it looks nice and smooth when they're doing it on their, at least on YouTube, they can scrub back and forth on the timeline and stuff like that. Well, I just can't do that. Now, I did bring the 8K video up last night just to try it, and it will kind of run it, but not really. And I can take a snapshot out of the 8K and turn it into a really high res JPEG, but I'm getting to technical data here that nobody cares about except me. Anyway, we'll see what happens here. But right now, you will probably notice that my transitions are abrupt. I sort of, part of my, you might call it a trademark, is these nice gentle fades from one scene to the other, and I've been doing that for years. Well, the computer just doesn't like to handle those fades. So until we get ourselves organized here with a better program, with a better computer, we're just going to have to have it the way it is, or else have nothing at all. In fact, my laptop is doing the processing right now. My main computer, it just won't take it, which is unusual. I would have thought it'd be the other way around. But for those of you who wonder what kind of processor my laptop has, it has an Intel. I think it's called an i7. It's the 7 anyway. So it's not the best one, but it was really good at the time when I got the laptop. And I've got 16 gigs of RAM in there, and so for those of you that are into computers, and it's it's not something that you get at a toy store. Okay, let's quit talking here and poking at this. I'm gonna have to move the camera out of the way and see if I can't get this glued on right there. Now, a funny thing happened to me a moment ago. I was sort of looking around for the pointing device so I could point. I like to point at something. And then I realized I'm using it to hold this up. I've just CA'd across the top of the railing there. And I don't know if you can see it or not without the macro lens. I've got it focused about as good as I can for this area right here. I realize that the foreground and background are blurry, but that's not important. I've got to stop worrying about that. I guess I got to concentrate on making sure that my subject is just right, and that includes exposure too. Now, you should be able to see that those little feet are sitting a little bit differently in those two slots that were on the side of the superstructure there. Okay. Now, I was just putting these davits on here, and as I was putting them on, I realized that how would you get the boat out? with these davits so close together. I'm wondering if this is a mistake, or would it be that they would swing one like say the bow out and then have it come around this way and then swing the stern out? I don't know. That's kind of puzzling. How would you get the boat between these two davits, which are clearly much closer together than the boat is long? Anyway, I'm going to have to call today's video quits. In fact, there's a chance that being that everything is processing and it's so slowly for me now on my laptop, that there's a good chance that today's episode might possibly be late. If they're late, that's what's happened. Yesterday's was about 10-15 minutes late. So, excuse me, I'm going to have to say thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.